Hello, what is going on, guys? GZTV back with another video. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the 16th episode and the Season 11B finale. We're going to be talking about Acts of God. Someone didn't survive this episode due to do battle in the series' last ever arc. And yeah, they're doing an A, B, and C arc. So normally there'd only be an A and B plot, but they wanted to add another arc to end the season because obviously ending the show right now would be a bit strange. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the 17th episode is going to do with like the new beginnings of the series, and yeah, really excited to get into that. But first, let's talk about the 11B finale. Punches flew, bullets flew, hell, even cicadas flew en masse in the Season 11B finale of The Walking Dead. And by the time Acts of God reached the calm before the series' next and last storm, we'd lost one minor protagonist, one major antagonist. Creepy Lance had lost what was left of his patience, and two mortal enemies had called a truce. We can go over the highlights here with you guys. You have Big Balls Maggie Ree. Early on in the episode, knowing that Lance and his troopers would be back, Maggie, Herschel, Elijah, and Marco, remember him, left Hilltop to escort the boy to his sitter, of all people, Negan. He doesn't exactly trust me, Glenn's pointer killer pointed out. But I'm starting to, the widow replied. Negan had saved Herschel from the troopers at the apartment complex. She wouldn't forget that, ever. You can't forget that. Someone saved your child. You have to thank him for that. A new understanding dawning between the longtime foes, Negan assured her, I got you and I got your boy. Shout out to Negan, man. That character development, he's finally proving himself to Maggie and redeeming himself. Elsewhere, Daryl, Aaron, and Gabriel were looking for an opportunity to take out the troopers with whom they were pretending to search for the remaining apartment dwellers. When at last the moment arrived, Gabriel was shot and so was Aaron. So yeah, they turn on the Commonwealth soldiers, and yeah, all hell breaks loose. But being series regulars, their wounds were only of the flesh variety, allowing them and Daryl to dispatch the rest of the soldiers and ascertain Lance's whereabouts from their doomed commander. So Lance is obviously super pissed off because he knows what Daryl and them did. He saw what they did at the Hilltop. He knows that they're not really all the way on his side, so he's pretty mad about it. So, returning to Hilltop, Maggie and company arranged for Lance's troopers to get an explosive surprise once they entered Barrington House, which is the main house where, what's the ruler's name? I can't remember what his name was. But our heroes had hardly managed to get out a hip hip, much less a hoorah, before Leah had fatally shot Marco. Out of nowhere, boom, Marco just gets hit in the back of the head. It's never a good omen when a D player gets lines. He might as well have worn a red shirt on Star Trek. So, yeah, there's certain patterns in TV shows that you see, and it's oh, well, if you're gonna... they're giving him any sort of attention, that means he's gonna die. He's gonna get the most attention when his body hits the fucking floor later on in the episode. When Lance complained to Leah that she'd gotten 3 of his men killed, the model employee shrugged it off. Collateral damage. She called the dead. She doesn't give a fuck. It's not her men. What? Meanwhile, Maggie split off from Lydia and Elijah so that they could all lead troopers away. Soon, Maggie and Leah came face to face, which is a crazy battle, something we've been kind of waiting for a little bit. Shots were fired and Leah was hit, but again, not badly enough to stop her, She knocked Maggie out, then tied her up rather than kill her, which again, might be a bit plot convenient. Obviously, we're not going to kill off Maggie Ree. She's, at this point, probably the most important character of the series. People like her and Negan for sure. Maybe, Daryl, yeah. The following morning, Maggie theorized that Leah thought making her family's killer hurt the way that she had would take away the pain, etc., etc. But Maggie was really just killing time when she untied herself. Once free, she and Leah engaged in a brutal brawl, one that Maggie looked about to lose, had Daryl not shown up at just the right moment to put a bullet in his ex's head. And that has a lot to say about his character, that he would do that, I've got a whole network ready and willing to ride at dawn. Just then, Lance and his troopers arrived on the scene, As always, shots were fired. I mean, this is a damn war zone at this point. The comment, like, the people of Alexandria and Hilltop can't fully commit to being loyal to the Commonwealth if it comes at a cost of one of their older members. A bullet even grazed Lance's face, leaving him extra pissed. Now he huffed, "We take it all." Wow, man. As if that hadn't always been his plan. I mean, you weren't going to hold back, were you? I mean, I don't think he was. Back in the Commonwealth, Eugene, seemingly having spent the night with Max, reaffirmed that she was still down with the risky plan to steal files from Pamela's office, because obviously she's super close to the higher-ups. She can pretty much do whatever the fuck she wants in there. She has access to everything. And though scared, Max remained on board. Shout out to Max. She wasn't even slowed down by Sebastian, who would have realized she was up to something were he not so utterly self-absorbed, like, "Oh, look at myself, am I so pretty?" That evening, Eugene and Max met with Connie, Kelly, Magna, and Ezekiel, who reported that he had reinforcements at the ready. But the list of names and mystifying codes wasn't enough for Connie to report on. They had to crack the code first. Like, what were these names for? Were these people that were being targeted? Yeah. In the meantime, she'd just write about Sebastian's heist. Surely that would make the residents of the Commonwealth realize that their governor did not have their best interests at heart. Sweet, naive Connie. Posting that article and seeing the backlash and the aftermath is going to be probably one of the more interesting storylines of this show. I feel like the Commonwealth might fall apart here. I think that's what the last arc is kind of setting up to be. As the episode drew to a close, Max returned the pilfered file to its cabinet just in time for a pissed Pamela to show up and drop a Resistance newspaper on her desk with the headline, "Pamela Milton is lying to you." Like, wow, it's crazy. I mean, people that literally are in her community, people that pretty much work for her with, like, the news press and stuff, are turning their backs on her. And it's kind of crazy. At the same time, troopers hung Commonwealth flags on the gates of Alexandria and what was left of Hilltop, and Lance flipped a coin, seemingly to decide the fate of Oceanside's denizens, I guess. Who's going to die, who's not, I don't know. I don't know, I like it. I mean, Maggie and Leah's brawl was definitely a highlight. Pretty cool there. Maggie and Negan signing a truce. Those were some pretty major moments. Some things that I guess you couldn't necessarily expect to happen. But hey, shout out to The Walking Dead. Pretty solid season here. I don't have much to say. I mean, the Negan-Maggie dynamic is complicated, but she will never forgive him for killing Glenn. I mean, that will just never happen. When Maggie told Leah that if she thinks killing Maggie and her family will make her feel better, it won't. I mean, I believe Maggie's finally come to the realization, like, with saying that, like, kind of indirectly saying, nothing will bring Glenn back, and though she'll never forget what Negan did, I believe she has been able to forgive him because she knows he has changed, especially when he saved her son. Like, Negan has changed. He's put a lot of things on the line for you at this moment, Like, yeah. Someone needs to do something about Lance, too. Lance Hornsby, he needs to be dealt with. Taken out of power, I don't know. He's pretty annoying. I mean, his character seemed naive enough at first, and I like that, though. I like that the show has painted that for him. But, I'm out, guys. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. As always, GZTV. Giving you guys the best TV show content out there. I'm going to go watch Dexter. I'm going to be posting a Madden